Imagine spending 7 years looking for a murderer, questioning thousands of people, checking cars, criminal histories, security footage, even investigating people who bought certain knives, only to discover the man you're looking for had been dead almost the entire time. And the evidence that finally exposed him was sitting inside his own belongings. Deleted photographs. Dozens of them. Tonight, we're going to Japan, to a case that began with a 19-year-old university student simply walking home from work. Her name was Miyako Hiraoka, and what happened after she disappeared would become one of Japan's most disturbing murder investigations. Welcome to the podcast you can't unhear. Miyako was 19 and in her first year at the University of Shimane. She lived in Hamada, a coastal city in Hiroshima Prefecture in western Japan. She was originally from Kagawa Prefecture and had moved away from home for university. On Monday, October 26th, Miyako went to her part-time job at an ice cream shop inside a shopping centre. Nothing unusual happened during her shift. She finished work at approximately 10 p.m. Normally, she would walk back to her student accommodation, roughly 2 kilometers, not particularly far, a route she knew. But that night, Miyako never arrived. There was one strange detail almost immediately. At the end of her shift, Miyako had been responsible for taking out the shop's trash, but investigators reportedly couldn't locate that garbage bag in the normal disposal area, which raised a question. Did Miyako actually make it to the trash collection point? Or did something happen before she could? Police started reconstructing her journey using surveillance cameras. Cameras inside the shopping centre showed her. But investigators also checked convenience stores positioned along the route she normally took home. Miyako didn't appear. That dramatically narrowed the window. Whatever happened to her probably happened very soon after she left work. When Miyako failed to return, concern grew quickly. She hadn't withdrawn money. There was no known history of her disappearing voluntarily, and according to contemporary reporting, she had not previously contacted police about stalking or similar threats. Investigators began treating her disappearance seriously. Her face appeared in the media. Searches began. People were interviewed. But there was almost nothing to work with. No obvious suspect, no clear eyewitness, no confirmed vehicle, and no clear reason why someone would target her. Then, 11 days after Miyako disappeared, the case changed completely. On November 6, 2009, a man was searching for mushrooms around Mount Garyu in Kita, Hiroshima, Hiroshima Prefecture. This wasn't particularly close to Miyako's home. It was a mountainous, wooded area, roughly 25 kilometers from the nearest major settlement. And while searching, he discovered human remains. Police arrived. DNA testing followed. They belonged to Miyako. She wasn't missing anymore. This was now a murder investigation. Police descended on Mount Garyu. Over the following days, additional remains were recovered from different locations around the mountain. Investigators determined Miyako had been killed before her body was dismembered. Later reporting about the investigation indicated evidence of pressure around her neck, and when police eventually closed the case, they concluded she had been killed by asphyxiation. I'm deliberately not going deeper into what was done to her body, because the condition in which Miyako was found became so sensationalized that sometimes the brutality overshadows the person. Police examined people with histories of sexual offences. Hunters. People familiar with the mountain. People with occupations that might give them anatomical knowledge. Cars travelling through the region. people who had recently moved away. Japanese reporting even describes investigators pursuing unusual leads involving purchases of knives and violent media. Thousands upon thousands of investigative assignments followed, and eventually the manpower poured into the case reached extraordinary levels. But there was still no arrest. Months became years. Nothing. And somewhere inside all that investigative data was the answer. Police just didn't recognize it yet. His name was Tomiharu Yano. He was 33 years old in 2009 and lived in Masuda, Shimane Prefecture. Yano worked for a company selling residential equipment, including solar panels. His sales territory included Hamada, the same city where Miyako disappeared. And there was something else police would eventually discover. Yano had a serious criminal history involving women. Years earlier, he had committed multiple offences against women he didn't know, including incidents involving a knife. He had received a prison sentence of 3 years and 6 months. 2 days after Miyako's first remains were discovered, on November 8, 2009, Yano was driving through Yamaguchi Prefecture. His mother was in the car. On the Chugoku Expressway, the vehicle crashed into a guardrail. Both Yano and his mother died. At the time, there was no established connection between him and Miyako, so the accident was treated as exactly that, an accident. And while police spent the next 7 years looking for Miyako's killer, the man they would eventually identify had been dead since virtually the beginning of the investigation. Then, in 2016, investigators went back through old information. One major part of the renewed investigation involved Japan's N system, an automatic number plate recognition network. Investigators analysed enormous amounts of vehicle data. According to later Japanese reporting, one investigator noticed a vehicle repeatedly travelling between areas relevant to the case. That vehicle eventually led them to Tomiharu Yano. His history immediately made him interesting. He had committed crimes against women before. He had worked around Hamada. His vehicle movements were relevant, and he died almost immediately after the murder. Police began digging into the life of a man who could no longer answer questions. Then they searched belongings Yano had left behind and found something investigators had been missing for 7 years. Among Yano's possessions were a digital camera and USB storage. Investigators recovered deleted data. Inside were photographs, 57 images in total, including duplicates. And the subject of those photographs was Miyako. Some showed her body, some showed a knife, some apparently showed part of Yano himself. And critically, the photographs contained details that connected the location to the bathroom of the house where Yano had been living. The timestamps placed the images during the period immediately following Miyako's disappearance. According to reporting on the police investigation, the photography continued for around an hour and a half. Suddenly, this wasn't just circumstantial. Police had photographs of the victim inside property connected to the suspect, taken immediately after she vanished. After 7 years, they finally knew who they believed had killed Miyako. And the digital evidence wasn't alone. Vehicle data also reconstructed Yano's movements. His car had travelled through the relevant region, including toward the area around Mount Garyu, where Miyako's remains would later be discovered. Investigators also learned that Yano had reportedly made a disturbing remark to someone he knew, suggesting that he'd done something serious. Piece by piece, the case that had looked impossible became surprisingly clear. Except for one crucial question. Police could identify the man. They could connect him to Miyako after her disappearance. They could connect his movements to the disposal area. But Yano was dead, so investigators could never interrogate him. And because of that, the exact beginning of the crime remains uncertain. Did he approach Miyako? Did he force her into his vehicle? Had he noticed her previously while working in Hamada? Was the encounter completely random? Those questions died with him. There's no verified evidence that Miyako knew Yano beforehand, and I think that's important, because sometimes people ask, why would she get into his car? We don't actually know that she willingly did. 7 years after Miyako disappeared, police finally announced their conclusion. Tomiharu Yano, 33 at the time of the murder, was referred to prosecutors on suspicion of murder, dismemberment, and disposal of Miyako's remains. But because Yano was dead, there could be no arrest. No interrogation, no trial, no verdict, and ultimately, no conventional courtroom ending. Police considered the case solved. For Miyako's family, that was something very different from justice. Their statement after Yano was identified was heartbreaking. They said they now had nowhere to direct their anger, their grief, their hatred, and their pain. Because the person police believed responsible had escaped every consequence. Not because he'd successfully hidden forever, but because he'd died before anyone knew to look at him. And naturally, once Yano was identified, people looked differently at that November 8th crash. The timing feels almost impossible to ignore. Miyako disappears. Her remains begin appearing on November 6th. 2 days later, Yano dies. So theories emerged that perhaps he knew police were getting closer, or that the crash was intentional. But there's a problem. There's no publicly established evidence proving Yano deliberately crashed, and his mother died with him. So while the timing is eerie, calling it suicide goes beyond what investigators were able to establish. The official case against him doesn't require that theory. The camera, USB, photographs, vehicle movements, and his history were already enough for police to identify him. There's another question that survives online. Could somebody else have helped? Again, there is speculation. But police ultimately treated Yano as the perpetrator. No accomplice was publicly established. And because he died in 2009, some gaps may simply never be filled. That's the frustrating thing about solving a case against someone who is already dead. There's also been discussion around the reward. A reward totaling approximately 3 million yen was reportedly paid in connection with information that contributed to resolving the case. Online, the lack of publicly identified recipients has generated theories. But anonymous tipsters are not unusual in criminal investigations. And I couldn't find reliable evidence supporting claims that the reward itself proves misconduct or a cover-up. So I wouldn't turn that into a major conspiracy. The real mystery is already disturbing enough. Because this is Japan, and because Mount Garyu became so strongly associated with Miyako's death, another story eventually attached itself to the case. A television broadcast from the area reportedly captured what some viewers interpreted as a woman's voice. Online versions claim the voice says something resembling, "It hurts. Why me?" And inevitably people began saying it was Miyako. The detail I keep coming back to isn't actually the mountain or the camera. It's the timing. All while the person police would eventually identify had been dead since 2009. And somewhere inside his belongings were the photographs that could answer the biggest question. Who did this. That's what makes Miyako Hiraoka's case so haunting. It wasn't technically unsolvable. The evidence existed. The technology and the connection just hadn't caught up with it yet. And when they finally did, there was nobody left to put on trial. Miyako was 19 years old. She had finished a completely ordinary shift and started a completely ordinary walk home. She should have made it back to her dorm that night. Instead, her family waited 7 years to learn the name of the man police believe took her life. And when they finally got that name, they discovered he had been beyond the reach of justice, almost from the very beginning. I'm sending prayers to Miyako and her family. May they find peace. But what do you think? Do you think it was really Miyako's voice? Thanks for joining me tonight. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you on the next episode of the podcast You Can't Unhear.